What's up, guys? Volkan here, back at it with another video. Full disclaimer, last two videos I made were straight up movie reviews. I'm still going to be making more of those in the future, but this time I wanted to do something a little different, talk about another one of my passions, and it's going to be video games. So if you don't like video games, it's too damn bad, because that's what we're going to talk about today. So for those of you that keep up with video games, you all know that E3 is just a couple of days away as of the time of this recording, and that's the video game convention. Obviously, there are other video game conventions that happen throughout the year, but E3 is pretty much the one that's like Christmas for gamers. It's the time that all the big developers and publishers get a chance to get on the stage and just say, hey, look at me, this is the big game I've got this year. You know, it's got 5,000 microtransactions in it, but you're gonna love it regardless, right? Because you're suckers and you like to spend money on stupid things. None of these games have microtransactions in them, to be completely honest. So there are some games that are guaranteed to make an appearance because they have pretty much an annual release schedule to them, but then there are other games that are going to probably show up because the developers love releasing new titles every year, even though they're not completely finished, but they just want to make a little more money put in their pockets. But we're not going to talk about those games today. We're going to talk about the games that I feel like are going to show up at some point, either through me just predicting them, but also games that are probably not going to show up, but I just want to see at some point because I'm hopeful, I'm praying for them, and I just want my little nerd heart to be happy for once in life. Please, just give me what I want. That's all I ask for. So let's not waste any more time. Let's just jump into these titles that I have for you guys here. So first up, we have Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. So this game was originally titled The Avengers Project when it was announced about 2 years ago, but then everything just went silent on it. But now we officially have an update by Square Enix saying that the game is now titled Marvel's Avengers. I like it. It's short, sweet, straight to the point. We know what the game's going to be about. We know who's going to be in it. No questions asked, right? So what are they going to show us in this showcase that they said they're going to have this following week? I'm predicting we're going to get some gameplay, probably another cinematic trailer of some sort, but the thing that I'm really hoping for is a bunch of interesting characters. Now, we all know that with Marvel's current lineup in the MCU, it's likely that some of those characters are going to work their way into the game, but I'm hoping for more obscure characters. I really want to see like some X-Men that we haven't seen before. I want to see some cosmic characters that haven't made their way to the big screen yet, maybe like Adam Warlock or something like that. He was teased in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the movie, but he wasn't shown in there. That's besides the point. I want to see him in a game. I want to get to play as him, other characters like that, and that's what I'm hoping for in terms of gameplay. That's what I'm predicting we're going to see. Now, something that is pretty much a complete pipe dream of mine, but it doesn't hurt to ask or to pray for this. I really hope this game is connected to Insomniac's Spider-Man game that they released last year. I know it's not very likely, especially because that game was exclusive to the PS4, but just hear me out. Doesn't make any sense, right? But the titles, Marvel's Avengers, Marvel's Spider-Man, it could just be a coincidence, it could just be consistent branding, but I'm thinking that they're connected in some way, shape, or form. Now, obviously, to those of you that played Marvel's Spider-Man, you saw that there was a lot of different nods to other characters in the Marvel Universe whenever you would go through the game. Like, you would see Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorium. You actually saw a Wakanda building. I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was some building from Wakanda, so you know Black Panther existed. And then you see Avengers Tower. Like, you can actually climb up and jump off of Avengers Tower. I did that quite a few times. Here's a picture. But I just think that there's some form of connection between the two, and I want to see it come to fruition. Now, again, I don't think it's really going to happen, but I'm hopeful for it. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and see what Square Enix has to show us when they showcase Marvel's Avengers this following week for E3. Alright, so a new Splinter Cell. I'm thinking that's on the horizon. So full disclaimer before I even start talking about this. I've never played a Splinter Cell game, like hardly at all. I've never owned one, none of that. But I really like the franchise, if that makes any sense. Like, I used to read about it. Since I couldn't get my hands on the games, I used to watch a lot of gameplay videos on them on YouTube. I love Sam Fisher. I love the whole lore behind it. I love all that stuff. I've just never played one. It's weird, right? But that doesn't mean I can't expect and want a new one. And all signs are pointing to us getting a new one. So check these out right here. So the first tidbit we have is that whole Walmart Canada extravaganza where they quote unquote accidentally released a bunch of unreleased video game titles on their website and then swiftly took them off and were like, oops, our bad, we didn't mean to do that. But Splinter Cell was on that list, right? What makes this list seem credible is the fact that a couple of the games that were on that list have already come out and were already rumored to be coming out in the future, and now that this list was made, it just makes it seem a little more credible. Now, we all know that a Splinter game hasn't come out since, I believe, 2013, so a new Splinter Cell game being on that list isn't that surprising, and it seems like it's actually possible that it could come out in the next few years. As well as that, there was a leak that came out not too long ago on Twitter. So a developer named Julian Geraghty, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, so my bad in advance. He was a creative director on The Division 2, another Tom Clancy game, but he went ahead and tweeted out that he was working on the new Splinter Cell game with other developers from Ubisoft. So according to IGN, a Ubisoft rep came forward and said that the tweet was a joke, but that's not a coincidence, obviously. So we have the website leak, we have a developer tweeting out that they're working on the game. He even changed his picture to a picture of Sam Fisher on Twitter. Like, what else do we need? Like, stop playing with this. Just give it to us. It's coming out. We know it's happening. So there's still a chance that we're going to get a Splinter Cell game. I really want to see Sam Fisher put on the goggles again. Give the people what they want. Stop playing with us. Alright, Cyberpunk 2077. So it's not really overstating it to say that Cyberpunk 2077 is probably the most anticipated game of the last decade, and for good reason, because they have CD Projekt Red behind them, and that's possibly one of the best developers in the game. They have like an award-winning game with The Witcher 3, they have a bunch of other amazing games in the horizon, and a bunch of other amazing games that they've released before. So what do I think we're going to get for Cyberpunk 2077? I'm thinking a release date. And again, that may be extremely optimistic of me, but it's looking like this game is just about wrapping up all of its production and it's on the horizon of being released. Now, we all know CD Projekt has already said that the game will be released when it's ready, but I think it's ready. I think that it's ready on their end, at least. I don't think it's ready because I don't know anything about making games. I just like to play them. So why I'm thinking that we're going to get a release date is because we've already received 2 trailers at this point. We've seen 48 minutes of ridiculously good gameplay, and we already know that some of the developers that were working on Cyberpunk 2077 have moved on to future projects, which means that once something like that happens, that means the game is pretty much close to being done. So all these things put together pretty much show us that they're wrapping up on this game, and if they're not wrapping up, then I don't know what they're doing, because this game has been in development for a long time. Obviously, they're trying to make sure it's as good as humanly possible for the fans, but I'm thinking we're going to get another appearance on the Xbox Microsoft stage during their conference. Maybe the lights will go off again, we'll get another glitch on the screen, we'll get a third trailer, and then at the end of the trailer it'll be like coming, blah 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 blah. Insert date here, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm really hopeful that we'll get this game because I want to get my hands on it as soon as possible. And if all goes well, it looks like CD Projekt Red is going to have another home run on their hands once they release Cyberpunk. So never in my life have I felt as powerful as I did when I played a video game as a witch that literally wears her hair as a weapon and also as her clothing. So the first Bayonetta was something of a masterpiece in my opinion. And while I didn't get a chance to play the second one because me and maybe 5 million other people on the planet didn't own a Wii U, I still can't help but be excited for the third installment that's on its way. Now, the third installment was first revealed in 2017 at the Game Awards, and ever since that trailer that we got and saying that it was going to be released late 2019, things have been pretty quiet. So quiet that people hadn't really noticed that the game got pushed back from 2019 to TBA, meaning to be announced. Yeah, a lot of people didn't notice. I did. Platinum Games, I noticed. So, what am I predicting? Not much, but I am hopeful for some gameplay, and maybe we'll get an actual date for the game now, because they pushed it back, but maybe they've had a little time to work on things, maybe they've had a little time to spruce it up a bit, fix whatever was causing them to push it back in the first place, and we'll get a date, because I really want to hop back in as Bayonetta, kill some people pretty gruesomely, pretty sexily. Sexily is not a word. So BioShock Infinite came out in 2013, and this might be a hot take for some of you guys, but that's my favorite BioShock game. I know, BioShock 1 was kind of a paving stone for a lot of video games. It was kind of one of the best games that's ever come out. BioShock 2 left a little bit to be desired, but it was still pretty good. But for me personally, playing all three of them, BioShock Infinite was the one that really did it for me. So ever since 2013, what is it, 6 years later? I can't do math, but I'm here. 6 years later, I've been patiently waiting for a new BioShock game since 2013. And it looks like all my patient waiting could, emphasis on could, be paying off pretty soon. So during an earnings call earlier this year, Take-Two Interactive reportedly gave a rundown of their future releases to their investors. Now, they apparently gave them a handful of titles that they have coming around, but there was also a handful that they didn't give names for that they said are also coming down the pipeline in the future. Does that necessarily mean BioShock 4 is coming out? No, it doesn't. But that information, plus the fact that Kotaku published an article a little while ago that shared that Take-Two opened a secret studio just to make the next BioShock game. I don't know about you guys, but the math is mathing on this one. It makes perfect sense that one of those unreleased titles happens to be a BioShock game. They're making secret studios for games. They gotta be releasing some good stuff in the future. And I'm thinking that some way, shape, or form, you're gonna get some form of announcement for it at E3. I don't know during whose conference. It's not gonna be PlayStation because they're not gonna be there. Maybe Xbox because Xbox apparently has a lot of big games that they're gonna show off. I keep saying Xbox, it's Microsoft. Duh. Regardless of that, I could be wrong, but we did hear reports a long time ago that the next BioShock game is gonna be set in space. So unless people are just pulling this out of thin air, which 90% of the time they are, but I'm going to pretend that they're not and be hopeful. I think we're going to get a new BioShock game within the next few years. Finally, the last prediction, or not even a prediction, not even something I think I'm going to see, but something that I think me and every other person on this planet deserves dearly. Skate 4, EA. Dude, come on. Been what, 10 years? Skate 3 came out 10 years ago? Give us Skate 4, you cowards. What's wrong with you? Give the gamers what they want. We want Skate 4. It's been so long. You guys gave us like a random knockoff, great value version of a skating game last year. I don't even remember what it was called. I'll insert footage right here. I don't know if it was good or not, but it's not Skate 4. I didn't play it. We want Skate 4. Skate 4. That's all we want. Skate 4. Just give us Skate 4. I think on that note, now that I am a little calmer, I think this would be an appropriate time to end the video. Thank you guys for watching, and leave a comment below letting me know what games you predict are going to show up or games that you want to see in some capacity at all during E3. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you want to see what type of content I take on next. Catch you guys later.